Thank you for joining me today for LEAP Basics for Technical Services. And I decided to hold this LEAP Basics for Technical Services webinar today because I know that many of you have not logged into LEAP for a while, and we have some interesting changes that will be coming soon for LEAP once we've updated the production server. So I'd like to start from the beginning and review some of the basics of LEAP today. So I'll be covering topics that are beyond what is covered in the introduction to Polaris and LEAP course by including serials and acquisitions records when I review the different record types. And because of a recent update to item records, they will look a little bit different in the training server than in production. So I will go over that new update. So the agenda will include logging in, a review of what's available in the drop-down menus, searching in LEAP, the work form tracker and the different work forms, and how to navigate between the records because links are a bit different in LEAP than in the client. I'll also be pausing my presentation at specific times for you to be able to take some time to practice doing what I demonstrate in LEAP, and then you'll be able to come back to Zoom after you've practiced for the rest of the presentation. So if I go too fast and you need me to repeat something, please let me know. Feel free to type in the chat or unmute yourself if you have any questions. So I'm going to place some links in the chat in case you don't have the agenda in front of you. The first is the link to the production server. And the second one is the link for training. You can easily identify that the links are for training because it does have the word training in the URL. And you can easily find the links for LEAP from the Member Tools A to Z page. So if you navigate to the CCS homepage and scroll down below the picture, you'll see this link in the quick access bar for Member Tools A to Z. You can also see it by clicking on the Member Tools.
Were able to get in. That's weird. I get it.
Starting to hear someone speak. Can you please mute yourself? So from the Member Tools drop-down menu, you can click on Member Tools A to Z. And then scroll down to LEAP. It's towards the middle. There's a link to the production and training version. If you click on View, it will open up LEAP. And then if you click on Learn More, it will take you to that Introduction to Polaris and LEAP course. To log into LEAP, you will need to type in CCS / and then your username and password and then sign in. Then you'll have to select your branch and workstation and then press continue. After that, you'll see a message letting you know that you're in either the training server or production server and when that data was updated in the training server. And then press continue. Like the client, Leap has a similar color scheme. Blue is the color for production and red is the color for training. Once you log in, you can see that the top of Leap is very different than the client. It has a quick access search bar. The word find is a link to the find tool and has several different drop-down menus. So before I move on to the drop-down menus, I'd like to pause my presentation so that you can practice logging into Leap. So if you came in a bit late, I'm going to post that link to the training server again. You can just minimize the screen for Zoom and open up your browser while you stay logged into Zoom. So there is the training link again, and once you have logged in, you can come back to Zoom and type done in the chat. All right, I'm going to move on. I see that a few of you are done, but it's been a while since the last one typed done, so I'll just move on to the next topic. So at the top of the page are the drop-down menus. New allows you to create new records. You will see less records listed here, less record types listed here than in the client because Innovative has not finished creating the different options yet for some of the records. And some of the records have to be created from within another record. For example, the fund records can only be created from within a fiscal year record at this time. The utilities drop-down menu is very similar to the utilities menu in the client. You will see a mixture of public services actions and technical services actions. At the top is the holds queue. There's also outreach services, pick list processing, and request manager. For technical services, you'll see the serials check-in, cataloging, processing, label manager, and mark import. Serials check-in opens the find tool for the serial holdings record, so you can access the serial check-in record. Cataloging processing takes you to the page to access the reports for bibliographic bulk change processes and the mark import reports from the import log. The label manager is where you'll find your preview screen of your labels so that you can print them in batches. And mark import is the screen that you'll use for importing your bibliographic record files. Help includes, as you would suspect, the Leap topics or the help files. Keyboard is a list of keyboard shortcuts that you can use. There are a small amount of Mark Editor keyboard shortcuts that you may or may not find useful. I'm not sure how much this will speed up your ability to use Mark Editor because the buttons are pretty easy to use. There's also a drop-down menu that you'll find when you click on your username. This allows you to access settings. There are two settings that you should be aware of. On the print options page, you'll find the label options. Right now, this is just the spine label options. They haven't added the serials label options yet. This will allow you to select your default record type and the print method. If you do select something in Leap, it will change the options in the client and vice versa. So if you do make a change, you need to make sure that you switch back if you go between Leap and the client. On the work form user defaults page, you will find the ability to select a default item template or item book change template. So I know you do have a lot of templates to use. I'm not sure if this would be useful to you or not, but it's important to be aware of its existence. So I'm now going to take some time for allowing you to play around with the different drop-down menus. So open up the different drop-down menus, click on different options that may interest you to see what happens, and let me know when you're ready for me to move on by typing in the chat. If you have any questions on these settings and options in the drop-down menu, feel free to ask. Good morning. We just had 2 more people join us today, and I would like to brief you that right now we were just taking some time to pause and let everyone check out the different drop-down menus in Leap. So I will post that link to log in. So if you haven't logged into Leap yet, you can use this link and take some time to log in. And what I've been doing is demonstrating some features in Leap and then asking everyone to check them out and then let me know when they're done by typing done in the chat. So at this point, I had just demonstrated logging into Leap and what is available in the drop-down menus. This includes new for making new records, utilities for serials check-in, cataloging, processing, label manager, and mark import, the help topics, and settings. All right, we have a few people that are done. So I am going to move on to the next topic, that is searching. At the top of the web page, you can see the quick access search box. You can execute a search with it by scanning a barcode or searching for a title, author, or patron. Next to that is the word find. When you click on it, it will open the find tool. Unlike the client, the find tool includes access to every single type of record in the database drop-down menu. So for technical services, this includes bibliographic records, the bibliographic records from the remote databases, which allows you to access OCLC, fiscal year, fund, invoices, purchase orders, item records, record sets, serials holdings records, supplier records, and templates is for the item book change templates at this time. The mode drop-down menu is the type of search mode that includes basic, browse, power search, and SQL. All of the saved SQL queries that are in the client are also in Leap. The qualifier drop-down menu includes all of the keywords that you can use for searching each record type, and the relation is the type of keyword search. To access the filters, you will need to click on this funnel icon. One of the nice things about the Find tool in Leap is that you can add a lot of additional conditions for filtering that would require a power search in Leap. So you would click on Add Condition and then open the drop-down menu. So I'll select type of material as book, and if you'd like to add an additional condition, you press the plus sign. It allows you to use the Boolean operators and or not. And I'll just select an assigned branch. That will be the assigned branch in the item record, and then press apply. Next to the funnel icon is a shopping bag icon. These are the settings for sending all of your records to one record set. If you just check the box, type in a name, and then press apply, it will send all of your results to a record set. You also have the option, once you press search, to select specific item records from the results, and then click on add to record set, and then press new or existing to add it to a record set. So we'll come back to that. To open up a record, you can double click on it or just single click on it and press open. Here, you can view your bibliographic record, and this button will allow you to easily return to the results again if this is not the right record. So I'm going to return to the results. And now I'm going to take some time to pause again so that you can practice searching for a record type that you commonly search for. Then open up a record and then press the results button to return to the results again. When you're done, let me know. Feel free to add any filters that you'd like to practice using the filters. And another person has just joined us. So what I'm doing today is allowing everyone to take some time to practice logging into Leap. So I'm going to post the link to log in the chat. And I have demonstrated searching in the Find tool by pressing the Find button. And I've asked everyone to practice adding some filters, searching for a record that you regularly open, and then pressing the results button to navigate back to the results, and let me know when you're done. Another person has just joined us, so I'm just going to brief the new person that joined us that what we are doing today is that I'm demonstrating some features of Leap and then asking everyone to try it on their own. So we've already logged in, and so I've posted the link to the training server in Leap. If you'd like to take some time to log in, feel free to do so. Right now we are on the searching item on the agenda. So everyone has just practiced searching in Leap to open up a record and navigate back to the search results. So we have a number of people that have finished the task, so I'm going to move on. Our next item on the agenda is to review the work forms. So since I have the Find tool open, I will start with record sets and just create a record set briefly by selecting a couple of records and then creating a new record set. So I've added a name and then I'm pressing save. So one thing that is important to note about the record set is that for each type of record set, there are two different actions drop-down menus. So at the top, you will find bulk change. You can create item record sets from bibliographic record sets and vice versa. You can delete the record set, or if you have bibliographic records in a record set, you can add them in bulk to a purchase order. If you click on a title and select it, you can then have access to the second Actions drop-down menu. This allows you to add records to other record sets, remove the records from the record set, and delete the records from the record set. I'm going to close that, and in order to easily show off both bibliographic records and serial holdings records, I'm going to search for a serial record now. I'll just search for National Geographic Kids and open up the bibliographic record. So one thing that you might find useful in Leap for helping you navigate between different records is the work form tracker. You can find the work form tracker on the left-hand side by clicking on these 3 bars. And then you can keep it open by pressing the pin. In the current drop-down menu, it will list all records that are open, and the recent drop-down menu will include the records that have been closed. So I'm going to leave this pinned open so that you can see the records as they are opened and can see the different icons that will appear. There's a different icon for each type of record. One of the things that is different between the client and Leap is how the views function. So in the client, you have that bar on the left-hand side for 4 different views, but in Leap, you will see this bar of tabs underneath the header. And there are a lot more different tabs that you'll see here than in views. So under the preview, you can see a brief and full preview of what the record will look like in the pack, but it does not show the TOM here. In order to access that TOM, you actually have to open that links drop-down menu. On the links drop-down menu, it doesn't have as many links as the client does in the menu, because a lot of those are in the header or in the tabs. This only allows you to access the holds queue, a view in pack, or a view in Vega. The view in Vega is only visible right now from the training server because we don't have production connected to it. But if you click on that, you'll navigate to the pack and you can check out the TOM and make sure the TOM is correct. If you'd like to take a look at what Vega looks like, feel free to click on Vega. And you can see how the records are stacked up in Vega. One thing that's a bit different than the client is that there are 2 different items tabs. If you click on local items, you'll only see your own items. And if you click on all items, you see the items for the whole consortia. Mark will allow you to access and edit the Mark record. Headings includes the links to all of the authority records. Statistics is for circulation statistics. Record sets is where you'll find the links to all of the record sets that include the bibliographic record. Resources is for e-content records. This will include the resource entities. And outreach is for outreach services. I'm going to open up an item record from Algonquin. One thing that is different with this item record is that with the version 7.3, Innovative has combined the Details tab with one of the other tabs. So now the important information is all on one tab, the Details tab. You may also need to edit the Blocks and Notes tab. The history will include circulation history. Statistics will include the statistic. Record sets like the bibliographic record will have the links to the record set. Notices will include the notice history, and source and donor will be the acquisitions information. So in this header, you will find the links back to the bibliographic record, but also a link to the issue record. I'm going to navigate to the issue record. And here you will find the issue designation and a notes tab. In order to get to the serial holdings record, you can't do so from the bibliographic or item record. You have to do so from the issue record, and you can click on this link from the issue record to open the serial holdings record. The tabs for the serial holdings record are pretty much the same as the views in the client. Innovative has not completely added all functionality to the serial holdings record yet. You can look at the publication pattern, but you can't add a new one yet. In order to navigate to the check-in record from the serial holdings record, you will need to click on the links drop-down menu. It's not in the header. And then you can open the serials check-in record. It's a bit of a roundabout way of doing so. I think the most efficient way to do so is to click on the utilities menu and then navigate to serials check-in from the drop-down menu. This is a serials check-in record and lists all of the expected issues. And if you use the drop-down menu, you can navigate to received to see the received issues, where you would access it to delete an issue that you want to withdraw. And it also allows you to add new predicted issues or a new issue without predicting further issues. So now that I have a number of records open, you can see the different icons that have appeared in the workform tracker. And when they're closed, they should appear in recent. But I closed one and it didn't appear. That does it. It's not updating it, but you get the idea. Oh, now it's updated it with some of the closed records. Okay, so one thing that was not linked to in those bibliographic and item records were the purchase orders and the invoices, because in the client, you can open that drop-down menu to find links to purchase orders and invoices, but we need to actually search for them in the Find tool. I'm going to search for some acquisitions records, and we'll start with the fiscal year. So I'll open up a Lake Forest fiscal year. And the funds can be accessed from the Funds tab. This includes a list of all the funds. The hierarchy view has not been added yet, but that's coming soon. This includes the total allocated, encumbered, expended, and free balance. You open up a fund record. You'll see the tabs are the same as the views in the client. And this includes the name and type and owner on the Details tab. There's no history on this fund. 1 second, that's the summary. I'll open up a better fund. So there's a history, which includes the lists of the purchase orders and invoices as they're encumbered, disencumbered, and expended. The Balances tab includes a summary of the balance and the limits. And the Donors tab is used only for donor funds. So now I'm going to open up a partially received purchase order by searching for it in the Find tool. So that should have a link to an invoice. So I'll search for the order status and select partly received. And I'll open up this one from Niles. So like the other records, the bibliographic and input record, there's a lot more tabs here below the header than there are views in the client. So the Details tab pretty much looks the same, and so does the Line Items tab. This is where you'll access your line items. The Charges tab is where you'll find the option for adding in a discount or header charges. Some libraries prefer to just add them to the invoice though. There's a tab for instructions to the supplier. Claims. I know many of you don't use claims. But one thing that's different is that the links to the bibliographic records, item records, invoices, and funds are in these tabs. So you can see a list of all of the links without accessing a drop-down menu. Here's all of the links for the item records. The linked invoices and the linked funds. I'm going to open up an a line item. Here you can see that you can access the segment. It's the default screen or default tab that opens up. You click on it to edit it if you need to edit it. Details tab is where you will find that bibliographic information and the material type, and where it also holds the unit price and discount rate. And like the purchase order, it also includes a link to the invoices and funds for that line item. I'm going to navigate to this invoice by clicking on an invoice number. And the tabs pretty much look the same as in the purchase order. You can click on the line items to access the line item, where you'll see your segment. And on the details tab, you will find the unit price and bibliographic information. On the charges tab, we will be able to add in your discount and any header charges like shipping charges. There's the payment history. If you've paid the invoice, you will see a voucher number or check number here. Links to the bibliographic records and item records, purchase orders, and funds, like in the purchase order. Holly asked if there's a key for all of the symbols along the left pinned column. I haven't thought of looking that up yet. I don't think there's an actual key for the symbols in the Polaris documentation. I can make one though. I'll write that down. All right, so now I'd like to pause and take some time for you to do some additional searching before we end the session today. Feel free to ask any questions that you have at this time. While you're searching, I would encourage you to take some time to practice navigating between different records that you regularly navigate between. If you navigate between bibliographic records, item records, and serial records, you can do that. If you navigate between purchase orders and invoices and items, that's what you might want to practice today. And at any point, if you have any questions, feel free to type it in the chat. Oh, I'm muted. Sorry. I wanted to share a link to a survey before you leave today. We are always interested in improving our training options that we provide, so feel free to fill out the survey and let us know what you think. I did notice that some people were starting to leave, but feel free to ask any questions that you have about your experience with using Leap. We have about 10 minutes left for the session today. Additionally, if you'd like to share any opinions you have of Leap while you have been using it today, feel free to share your opinion. We'd love to hear what you think. Since Leap is still really in flux and Innovative has been making a lot of changes with every update, we are still finding bugs. So if while using Leap, you find a bug or a glitch, feel free to tell us at the help desk and we can pass that on to Innovative so that they can fix it as soon as possible. Thank you everyone for coming today, and feel free to ask me any additional questions via help desk tickets or chat before you leave.